Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are taking a look at two things. We have a Reddit post from Starsfilth here, as well as a video put out by Starsfilth. So we'll take a look at both of those. It looks like the video is 13 minutes long, so that's not too bad, and then we've got a Reddit post here as well. And the topic of this is going to be asking for or getting Peel as a support player. So that's an interesting topic. I expect these opinions to be somewhat controversial. I think some of the community is mature enough, wise enough, has figured out that the takes are, at least what I expect to read, is going to be mostly right because I think I know where this is going. But could surprise me, could be wrong. And it also could surprise me. The community could be very much in a no, 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 that's absolutely wrong, or they may be pretty far along and understand that this is correct. So we're going to take a look here. If you guys have questions, comments, thoughts, absolutely throw them up in chat. I will get to them as we take breaks here, as we sort of get through the article. Then I'll do stuff, then we'll watch the video. If you want to interrupt me, super chat is the way to do that. And we've got Starsfilth here. Perfect. Good to see you, Starsfilth. Okay. Temporal here to roast another hard-working content creator and make them cry their eyes out. Pug me. There we go. Let's see if we can make Starsfilth cry his eyes out. Okay. What to do when you don't get peeled for as a support. Hello, my name is Starsfilth, and I'm a private coach. Hello, Starsfilth. I'm also a private coach. Okay, you know that. Okay. I've I have been coaching Overwatch for the past 4 years and have reviewed thousands of VODs from players ranging from bronze to GM. This is a VOD review of a Master Zenyatta player, but the subject can be applied to every rank. Okay, so this is going to be Master Zen player asking for Peel, that sort of thing. Okay, no problem. Or maybe it won't be them asking for Peel, but we'll see. As a support, asking for Peel from your tanks mid-fight is such a common occurrence and also a common gripe with my coaches who play support. In this video, I'm going to tell you why 1. You rarely get the Peel from tanks you're asking for, because it should instead be assigned to their other tank. Why you should probably stop asking your tanks for it to begin with, you absolutely should. What you can do to alleviate the feeling of being hung out to dry that comes from not having Peel, position better and win duels. An especially common sentiment from Zenyatta players, and the solution is actually super simple. I look forward to hearing it. Uh, Here's the TLDR of the video. Expecting Peel from your tanks is kind of outdated and inefficient. For example, if your team is running Rein Zarya or Rein Diva, your off-tank will find much more value supporting their other tank with Peel in the middle of a fight so they can maintain the front line. Exactly. Like, if you think about it like this, you would go, hey, I can be Zarya, and if I'm Zarya, I can offer a bubble to my Zenyatta, since my Epic Pen shows up here. I'm Zarya. I have a Zenyatta back here. I can offer them a bubble, and that's a one and done. It's then on cooldown. I've got to wait 8-10 seconds, be like, oh no, that's my bubble. I can't do anything with that. I spent that bubble, and what did that bubble accomplish? Well, if I got it just right, maybe it stopped a Doomfist slamming into them. Maybe it caught the very beginning of a Tracer clip. But the Tracer's still going to stop shooting. The Doomfist is still going to have more to do after that's all over, that sort of thing. Like, the sort of best things that I could possibly get were, hey, I caught it right as the Doomfist was coming in. Not late, not, oh, I saved them late when the Doomfist has already spent much of his rollout. But, like, I got it as he was coming in. Or a more common and useful one, and this actually is useful, is, hey, the Zen got hooked, the Ana got hooked, whatever. If you bubble that, that's got some value. That is a very reliable burst thing that you're actually canceling. But that's not usually what supports are expecting when they're asking for Peel. They're expecting, hey, Diva, sit on me and don't let this Tracer get too much value on me. Or, hey, I'm fighting off this Tracer for a good 2 seconds. Why is Diva not come and help me? Why has Zarya not offered me a bubble? Why has Zarya not turned around and started melting the Tracer? And there's a very, very good answer for that. When you look at how resources get spent, like a bubble like this bubble isn't good enough. The Zarya is not going to get great energy from bubbling you from that Genji or that Tracer being on you. Could get it if he's really perfectly timed with the Doomfist, but his awareness of the Doomfist and like paying attention for the rollout would have had to be so much back here that she, the Zarya, would have lost a ton of pressure value on the front line that she needed to be offering. That doesn't really work for her. A little different for Diva, who could be out there putting pressure on the Doomfist early because of Diva's mobility, but we look at something like that and it just doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense to go, you're going to give up this much pressure on the front line. Your front line is going to lose if you do that. Like, that is how that works. And same thing with your bubble. If you bubble and you interrupt some tracer shots, it's not going to be that much damage. Like, it might be the difference between life and death versus your Zenyatta. It might. It shouldn't be, but it might. But you're not going to actually block that much damage. You're not going to get that much energy. And it's not going to be nearly as efficient as having bubbled your Reinhardt, who's now going to get full value out of that bubble almost every time from a energy defensive perspective, and is going to get a good 2 swings worth of value, maybe cleave multiple people with those swings. Like, the focus has to be on your main tank. It unlocks so much more for your main tank than for your support if you're peeling for them. And we walked this through with Zarya, but we could do much the same thing with D.Va, much the same thing with Sigma. I do not want Sigma sitting back on top of my Zen in most situations. I want my Sigma on an off angle being aggressive. So if I have a situation where my Reinhardt is here, I want my Sigma up over here on an angle. Now my Zen can come up with my Sigma if they want. That can be perfectly fine. But my Sigma can't sit in my backline protecting my Zen. My Sigma can't be in a place where they can kite back quickly to my Zen and go protect them if my Zen is behind my Reinhardt, that sort of thing. So now, don't expect that that's what's going to happen. There's times where you'll play up a very peel-heavy game where, hey, the Winston will be here. Your Winston will be playing a counter dive game because you're playing, say, Winston with Soldier and Echo and I don't know, Mercy and Zen, and you're expecting to force the other team that has divers to dive you, and then you're going to jump back and peel. And okay, that could happen, but that's like specifically counter dive. Anyway, I don't want to steal all of Starsfilth's thunder here, but I wanted to walk through an example of that. The only time you can justify peel from your tanks is when, one, the enemy dives someone, pushes early on you before your team even begun to engage and use their ability. That's a great way to describe it. So this counter dive, the last thing I was describing, is the first thing that Starsfilth is describing here. Or when someone goes in early and they've effectively created a situation where the Hammond has gone in on your backline, and you can have 5 people peel this Hammond because the rest of their team isn't yet ready, isn't yet pushing, so your Reinhardt is just chilling here, or your Orisa is just chilling here going, I guess I'll kind of chill here while the other 5 of you deal with this Hammond that came in early, this Genji that came in early, this Sombra that's trying to run loops and unstealthed early, that sort of thing. Absolutely livid. Temporal TV took my thunder. There you go. There you go. When your team specifically planned on getting dove and the plan was to counter dive as a means of peeling, sure. Or 3, someone locked in Doomfist on the enemy team. I'm half joking here. It's funny how it came up for both of us, though. In reality, your goal is to prevent the Doom from setting up in the first place. Right, right. You were much better off preventing the Doomfist from setting up by going, hey, and you'll see this will happen. Like, if you're playing against Doomfist Brawl, what'll frequently happen is you'll assign your D.Va to pre-mark the Doom to go mess with spots that the Doomfist would like to stage from, while pulling your McCree maybe back to sit more, depending on the level of difficulty you're having, to sit more on your BAP so that you can have a little bit of D.Va contest Doomfist out here when he's staging. And because D.Va's contesting out here and isn't back here to contest with DM, McCree is back here to catch Doomfist, which is sort of the opposite of your more standard formation in the Brawl matchup, where you'd go, hey, McCree, go take your heavy off angles. That said, you can play it the standard way. Okay. Once they're on, you accept your fate, but Defense Matrix certainly is nifty. Sure, but Defense Matrix is cheaper to spend than Bubble for that sort of thing because it can be used in ticks, and it's also, like, it's a big investment. You're probably having to use boosters to bring your D.Va back, and you're using a tick of Defense Matrix, and now what's going on in the front line, and you're not stopping his big abilities. It might work because it'll stop the Elim, and that's worth doing. Like, it's worth doing to stop the Elim, but you're not stopping very much of his rod. You're stopping his little fist bumps, which was what was going to finish someone off there. It's a little annoying. Okay. But in the realm of Doom, yeah, it's worth interrupting Doom. It's worth hard peeling Dooms because Doom is just that big a deal when he comes in. But mostly, if you're going to be successful winning like that, you need to make sure you're peeling Doom when Doom's coming in early, alone, that sort of thing. You actually generally want to hard peel Doom while not sort of kiting his team and then push back in. But depends on the matchup. If you do expect peel from your tanks in the middle of a fight, for example, your Zarya, you most likely won't get it until their cooldowns come back online. Right, because Zarya is generally not going to just be sitting on her cooldown, sitting on her bubble, going, I'm waiting for something to happen that's worth bubbling. She's going to actively look for opportunities to bubble, and her Reinhardt or her Doomfist, if they're any good, are going to be tracking, or her Winston, are going to be tracking her bubble cooldown, and they're going to be looking to spend it as soon as it's available in most situations. Now, that can change a little bit. You can get to a point where you go, hey, Zarya actually, after they got to 100 energy, is intentionally holding the cooldowns for outs to save people from things like Roadhog hooks. You can find that situation happens, but even so, they're going to generally not sit on their bubbles for that long, and Roadhog hook is kind of the exception here because it does such a telegraph and pulls people out of position and all that jazz. During that wait, if you put all of your money into having peel for the tracer in your backline, chances are you will die of death. Yes, yes, that is certainly a cause of being eliminated. Oh, Cassidy, got it. Cole Cassidy. There you go. There you go. Backing up from the enemy gives the illusion of safety, but in reality, it puts you in more danger. Depends a little bit, but yeah. We're talking about supports here, so I'd say that's somewhat true, but it really depends on your kite path. Like, backing up isn't by itself safety, but a kite path can be. Like, you can go, hey, I get what you're going for here, and you're probably going to cover it, but, like, you're creating this situation where there's Zen, there's an enemy Genji, and then you've got your team up here, so maybe you have, I don't know, McCree and a Mercy up here. Excuse me, a Cassidy and a Mercy up here, and you're going, oh, let me kite back. And this kiting back could be right if this kiting back gives you some corner to kite back around. Yes, you're getting further away from your team that could help you, but it could be right if you now have something to line of sight with to hide while you start charging a right click, that sort of thing. Obviously, with Genji specifically, it starts depending on, well, what's his deflect status, but hey. Okay. Uh-huh. For flankers, high mobility characters, a dive comp for example, backing away from your team is actually an elimination sentence. The further back you move, even if you are at a numbers disadvantage, leaves you more and more isolated and more of a target. Okay. Same can occur versus comps where the enemy is running snipers or heroes with longer ranges in general. Right, the distance isn't safety against ranged heroes. Have you ever run into a situation where you're being singled out by a long range DPS and you just can't get to safety with your team because if you stop, you'll get destroyed? Sure, sure. You probably were lagging behind, which brings me to the next point. It also leaves you with less ways to win the fight by getting a counter limb when you are down teammates. Not to mention, the further you are with a projectile hero, the harder it can be to aim since you have to lead your shots. Sort of. I mean, projectile heroes have advantages and disadvantages at range. Generally, they don't have fall off, which is great for them at range, and Zen Sniper is absolutely a thing. But the general concept that we're going for here is, hey, if you're further away, it's less likely that they'll get a counter limb on whoever took you out. So if Genji takes you out, but you got his deflect out and got him down to 50 health, if he gets you, but then goes down half a second later himself, it's a loss. It's a loss to have lost your Zen, don't get me wrong, but that fight is still winnable for your team. He's much likely to get counter punished for his elimination on you if you're far away from your team and you've kited away from your team. Yeah, you should change the order here. I assumed it was a lead into point 3, which you then went into another bullet. The simple fix, the simple way to fix this feeding of being isolated is to literally just not drift away from your second support into the distance. Yes, your second support is your key peeler. I hope we're going to get into this. At least keep them within their line of sight of you. Take a look at how many times you wind up behind your second support. If players and masters do, you probably do it as well. Okay, okay. Makes things a lot simpler for you and your other support since you just kind of exist within each other's access and you keep each other alive. Okay. Sticking by a DPS in your team works too, but not as well considering that they can't heal you. Right. The best peelers in the game are mostly other supports. Healing is a pretty good form of peel. Okay. can't heal you, so you have less time to get rid of the threat. You're also partially relying on your DPS to actually land shots on the threat before they eliminate you. Sure. Obviously, this doesn't guarantee that you live every time, but the point is that it greatly increases your chance of it. That's the only thing you can do in ranked. Try to increase your chance of victory. Sure, I think we're missing something important here, which is pressure is peel. Like, I like this concept. I like doing a guide, sort of a lead in for your video on, hey, don't expect your tanks to peel. Your tanks need to spend their resources on their other tanks to enable their pushes, those sorts of things, to enable them to get value. It's much more consistent value, and therefore they have to be doing it. I like that. I would have probably liked a little more pressure is peel in terms of, hey, your team having this map control actually makes it harder for things to approach you, and your team is peeling for you, whether you realize it or not, by not letting things get close to you, by shooting at things, by taking their own space. Like, if your Genji is far away from you, if your Genji is over here and you're over here as Zen, well, this is actually good because it means the opposing soldier isn't running through here to get an angle on you where he can then hit you like this. Your Genji is actually helping you. He is peeling for you. It's just neither of you realize it. So, that probably was important enough to cover. If I had a pound for every time a support had complained I don't peel as for them as Reinhardt, I would have several pounds. Okay. Okay, so let's lead into the video here. We saw this again. This was good. This was nice. I do think there was more room for pressure's peel. I think we could have gone a little bit deeper into this degree of, hey, our off tanks and our tanks have to spend their peel sort of on each other to push, and that your supports, you did get a little bit into it, but supports are your best form of peel. If you're getting eliminated as a support, your first line of defense is yourself, but your second line of defense is your other support. We covered all of it. We covered all of it a little bit lightly. We didn't actually cover pressure as peel. You did very, very lightly with the Diva should be hunting the Doomfist, I suppose. But this is probably a teaser for your video, so the video may cover more of it. Let's see. And let's get into the video. You can skip the intro of the video. There's a bit of colorful language. Colorful language warning, guys. Colorful language warning. I'm going to let that go. And this is, a temporal video, but we're going to let some colorful language happen.
Hello, this is Starsfilth, and this is my pitch to TBS or Fox or whoever it is that owns Family Guy. This is my pitch for the new episode of Family Guy. Lois walks in, and Peter says,
I need $28,000.
for Overwatch coaching.
For what?
I decided I wanted to hit Diamond.
Sounds right. Sounds right. Good price. One person to diamond, 28,000. No. Okay, we'll get.
And then it skipped to shit. And then he buys the coaching, right? And he goes, family. Wait,
Everyone, I got
shit. Family, I have an announcement. I have brought fucking all these. And Lois is like peeved. She's really PO'd at this point. She's like, Peter, you can't buy all these coaching sessions. What? You can't afford this. And but Peter's like, but alas, I can. Starsfilth over. Oh fuck, it went too far.
Okay, I gotta pause again because I have to break this up so that the YouTube censors don't get mad. Okay, so this is some video editing. I'll just say that.
Starsfilth Overwatch coaching is on sale from November 1st until fucking December 30th. 31st.
Okay.
I mean, it's the end of year sale. All coaching sessions are 30% off. Join his Discord.
Okay.
And
we're doing your content, so we'll let you do your plug.
Yeah, then he gets the sessions and he hits diamond or whatever.
Oh, we have a super chat coming in from Adam in Charge for $4.99 saying, "Hey Temporal, my dog just got top 500 in barking last week. Thanks to your advice on playing closer to fire hydrants and waiting for treats before tricks." There you go. Top 500 in barking. Okay.
Yeah, that's the end of my pitch.
Okay.
onto the video.
Let's take a look.
There we go. Discord on who you're focusing on, who your team's focusing on. Good shit. Okay.
Okay. So we're reviewing a review now. So let's go here. We're looking at a Master Zenyatta.
Okay.
Excuse me?
There we go. Discord on who you're focusing
Harmony's on your Reinhardt.
Team's focusing on. Good shit.
We're blue. We don't move our...
Okay.
Are we going to get that Discord back out? Are we going to get that Discord out? Okay. This is a really long time for a Harmony Orb to not be out. We also can't make up our mind on targets here. No, I can't help myself.
Yeah, so you're like trying to win the fight, so why are you leaving? Right? Like, I mean, your Ana dies.
Okay.
Is this... No, this isn't where... It's just like, you can kind of see that it's like you're offering yourself nothing. Right?
Well, they're backing out
as-
because they've decided that this is over. They're down 2 people, and they do have to effectively get out and hit some level of stabilizing and then push back in. They're going to have to give up ticks. They went down 2. Ults aren't yet in play. Unless he just, lotteries a shot. Unless they punch back and get an elimination as they're retreating, they do need to pull out to where the Zen is. So I don't really have an issue with this.
Then, like, especially when you know that they have a Tracer, it's kind of like lethal to isolate yourself, and again, backing up doesn't make you any safer, because you can see that it's like with these like high mobility heroes, they're just gonna approach you. They're gonna find ways to approach.
Yeah, so the thing here, though, is, like, I get what you're saying. Okay, so this is getting into the concept, obviously, of peeling, and distance isn't really your friend, except what you get into is we sort of need the whole team to pull back. So, yes, Perk here probably did pull back a tiny bit early. This isn't really helping him, but the team is pulling back, so on a macro level, it's like, hey, this makes sense. We're just a little bit early.
Approach you from like whatever angle like they can. So I mean, if you don't have a healer, that doesn't mean you need to just like back off to fucking Narnia. Like, yes, you can spam easier towards.
And yeah, guys, Starsfilth uses different language than I do, so definitely do be aware for standard temporal viewers here that this is going to get a little spicier with the language.
Here, but it's like that also increases your chance of getting flanked and isolated, which is not good. I would say, if anything, you realistically could just play right here, right? Because this is much.
You could play here. I mean, you do want your team to pull back. You could play here temporarily, but you'd already be backing. You wouldn't still be here by the time you got to here. You don't want to be sharing the front line with your Reinhardt because you do not want to get caught with Reinhardt cleaves from the other bubbled Reinhardt.
Much more likely to get help from your teammates. All right, like they're gonna do damage on the Tracer. And then it also affords you the opportunity to look for right clicks in here, right clicks out here, something like this, right? Because the fight is being lost, all right? So you might as well do something to win it.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly fine here to go, hey, we're going to go fish through hotel for a right click, especially in the beginning phase of your team starting to back off. Ultimately, your team is going to retreat into a somewhat closed space here and do this arch through arch. This is a pretty standard rotation, and it's not really a wrong rotation for a team to back up to this side of arch to try to get their people back to recontest.
Okay. Again, keep in mind, right?
Yeah, this distance isn't helping. This distance legit isn't helping. There's no reason to be back here. If you wanted to be up on high ground, like up here, I could potentially live with that, where at least you're getting something, you're getting a better angle, but there's absolutely no reason to be right here. Your Anna's positioning is better than yours.
Just think about.
I would certainly be willing to play over here where I'm peeking because, oh, what do you know? I became aware of the guy who was rolling out over here because this was predictable. I could be playing tighter on this. tighter on this over here, but this isn't amazing. I'd really prefer to be up here or over here where I have cover that I can use, or where I have high ground that I can use. Temporal. Any, do you always talk about banana peels? We don't always talk about banana peels, but if we look at Starsfilth's channel, I think he's got a banana peel there, and let's take a look at this. Starsfilth will open their channel here more generally. See, some banana peel on the banner there. There we go. Okay. Why do you always talk about banana peels? I don't know that I always do.
This, like, for future reference, it's like you're behind your Ana. Obviously, like, nothing's going on right now, but it's like the further you go back now, the further isolated you are.
That's true, but there is some trade for cover. Like, we're somewhat here because we want cover. I'd probably prefer to use the cart a little bit more as cover in this situation. Again, I'd really just prefer high ground in this situation, but there is a balance to be had of, hey, do you want your other support there available to peel for you, or do you just want cover, which is its own form of peel?
And you're not going to get support from this Ana, who's going to be focusing her attention primarily this way. It's much easier for you to be sticking like parallel or like to an extent even in front of her slightly, or like I would honestly say like right here at the corner.
Yeah, there we go. There at the corner would be good. Her positioning isn't that great.
There, she's gonna just like naturally have you in her line of sight with like how she's moving and how
someone has
moving,
to be behind. They can't both be in front, right?
And that will in turn keep you alive longer because she's pocketing you, like in a way, or at least it's less of a chore for her to heal you here. Okay, so Harmony on the Zarya, no Discord out yet. Discord goes out on Zarya. What do you...
You move your Harmony. We have a Discord out. You're fishing.
You're just switching to whatever you're focusing.
Okay, we're gonna drop a right click into Tracer there. You're correct in that you kite towards your Ana. What?
You see...
You were kiting towards your Ana, I think. Let me take a look here. That happens. You turn around. No, you start to push back into them. You don't want to push back into them. This is what Starsfilth is about to go over. You discorded them, and that was right, but we were perfectly happy with a, hey, we have our Hanzo has a sightline on us, our Ana has a sightline on us. We don't want to back up so much that the rest of the team has a sightline on us, but this is okay. We just didn't really want to push forward here with this last micro movement.
This is what I'm saying. You see how, like, being...
Oh, actually, no. The opponents have, like, no presence out there. You just want to... You're perfectly happy to kite into the open here.
Being further far back doesn't really help you.
Like, literally, this is a, hey, I'm going to kite this way type thing. The micro movement back in. And this matters. Like, we talk about micropathing, and we constantly talk about micropathing, or we frequently talk about micropathing with heroes like Reinhardt, who are in charge of rotations, but support kite paths absolutely matter, and this is why another person who frequently talks about pathing is your flex support, their pathing matters. Your main support, if you're using like a Brig or a Lucio, your pathing absolutely matters, especially if you're controlling your flex support's pathing. Micropathing is a difference maker.
Here. Like if your team's line is like here, you're back here.
Oh, hey, Perk.
Realistically, peel, and this is gonna be controversial.
So we have Perk here, who is our Zen being reviewed, as well as Starsfilth, so we're doing reviewception here.
But it's like, really, peel doesn't really exist. Like, your tanks don't really peel for you. That's...
Well, peel exists. It's cover, it's pressure on the enemy team in the first place, and it's your other support.
It's not a thing. Unless if it's like a specifically like a set play you have or something.
Okay.
For example, if like the enemy team is diving you and you say, okay, we're gonna dive, or we're gonna let them dive us, and then we'll counter on them, like counter dive or whatever.
Oh, did Perk make it to GM?
You might
Nice.
see your tanks support you, but your Ana, realistically, your second support is gonna be the one.
It wasn't worded brilliantly, Starsfilth, I agree.
That's like almost like they will be the person that's gonna be the person that will support you. If anything, another DPS might help you.
Yeah, I mean, the support's the most likely to give you peel.
But that's like if they're around, you know, if they're not looking to like that's like if they're around. So a lot of the times backing off isn't the safest option. It's actually moving forward and actually being within the vicinity of your teammates that will actually be safer than isolating yourself like this.
Okay. So a little bit of a micropathing issue there.
Unfortunate. I think you could be moving forward and onto the cart. You definitely could be moving.
You would
forward.
definitely
you have
be
this
pushing
tendency
this.
to just like
Yeah, so I less
be
because
moving
of that.
forward and
Like, we should be controlling left side. There shouldn't be a tracer that's in there when we're winning the fight like this. But this is a situation where, yes, you would be pushing into the enemy team. Yes, even a Zen, and you might be going, but Temporal, Zen doesn't do any better damage by getting closer or whatever. No, this is a cleanup phase. You want to push in and take these opponents down. That is what you want to do. You see this very frequently in some of the Zen ball meta stuff. You'll see this in what's being played professionally type things where the Zen and Briggs are walking into the fight. And yes, part of that is because the Brig has to be part of the dive when the dive turns real and is actually there to win the fight. And the Zen is going, hey, I'm not gonna get any help if I stay back here, so I'm gonna walk into the fight too. That's safer. But you also do get more stopping power, more ability to finish people off, more ability to consolidate the fight you're up in into a win quickly, so you get more eliminations, more stagger things, rather than backing off, setting up a defensive concave, and you having a bit of a stalemate again.
onto the cart.
You don't get enough micropathing tips? Okay.
You definitely could.
Is someone going to pony up money to VOD review one of the scrim games? Could happen. Could
be moving forward. You have this tendency to just like back off. Like you see your team is winning, move forward, Discord shit, and kill that shit. Right? Move forward in Discord. Move forward in Discord. Use the cart as cover. Right? Move towards here. Do something. But it's like again, you back.
Yeah.
You're
I would probably be shouting "walk at them" right now if this was my team. But
back behind, and of course nobody's gonna help you here. Maybe you still would have died, like even if you're here, but it's more likely that if the tracer has to walk into you towards.
Well, I want to know what McCree's doing. That like McCree's standing here in ward off tracer positioning and don't let them into this lane positioning, and somehow there's a tracer behind you that went through this lane. Like, I'm not thrilled with that, but hey.
Here, that somebody on your team will see it and they'll deal with it, right? Even if you die, it's just more likely that they'll deal with it. But it looks like they're gonna deal with it now. Yeah, there we go. Kind of forgot the tracer. He forgore.
Temporal is just watching his discoverability plummet in real time. It's fine. It's fine. It's one video, and I gave plenty of warnings.
I mean, yeah, you wanted to put out some poke, but you can be moving forward. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not so much that you even forgot the tracer here. It's like you're walking forward, and your team is moving forward to get kills. You need to continue walking forward.
Well, you need to be able to keep applying your Discord at the very least.
Discords on the people that they want to kill and end this quick, right? And build up more ult charge, right? You should be moving forward earlier, like pushing forward into them, like maybe around like this. This is probably the safest way to go about it, right? But like you have to make that a forward movement, otherwise you're never gonna get support, right? Because like right here, the McCree could easily support you, right? Right here, the Ana could easily support you, especially if because you were ahead of her to begin with. Right.
Yeah, it's very hard for Tracer to take down a support with any other support. It's relatively easy for Tracer to take down a Zen that is not getting supported. We know this.
You were ahead of her, so if you just move forward and you keep on going for this, you're gonna have support and you're not gonna.
I mean, yeah, but if we're doing that, if we're making it our goal to constantly stay ahead of the other support, let's make extra sure that we're aware and we turn around to help our other support deal with the Tracer when they get on them. Because that is what you're doing. What you're effectively doing is you recognize that, hey, Tracer is going to nibble at the edges of our team. Tracer is going to go, hey, we are Tracer, we are red team, we're going to be out here. Maybe there's a Hammond over here, maybe there's a Sombra over here, and then you have your team here. And if you have Ana out the outside, and maybe Sigma at the front, whatever, and Zen in here, yes, the team is going to go at someone, and maybe a McCree here. Their team is going to go at someone who's on the outside. They're going to go at someone who is here. or maybe someone who, is on the outside. They're not going to go on a center person, and they're probably not going to go on the front person either. So, like, they want to work on people on the outside. If you're McCree drifted enough, they might go after him, that sort of thing, but probably not because of the angles. That's how you generally think about that. But okay. Temporal, my dog. Your dog wants to thank me. Okay, Adam in charge. Okay.
Chaz can't like the Pokemon for the micro. Ah, okay, gotcha. In this team comp, you're the Tracer's easiest target. Exactly. Like,
sure.
If you were running like Zen Brig and like the Brig was sticking with you, I could get why you'd want to like stick back a little bit more, but even then, it's like it's just not smart.
No, you'd have to walk in because your
Brig
Brig wants to help finish the fight when you go ahead by 1.
Like, especially, like, it would be okay if they didn't have a flanker. If they have a flanker, being behind, like, your team and, like, out of LOS is just a death sentence, so.
Sometimes. I mean, there are ways to do it. You can have enough of a lead. You can have enough pressure on the flanker before he gets there. Like, distance can help in some ways because it's a longer flank path that the flanker has to take, and it's more time that you're able to pink, discord, pink, whatever on them, and be like, okay, by the time you get here, you have 1 blink and you're pre-discorded. Are you sure you want to fight me? No, I'm good. Yeah, that's what I thought, type thing. Like, there is room for that, but again, we would preferably a more organized team. You wouldn't let them in the first place. But okay, let's continue.
It's just not going to work. I'd say even if there was a monkey or a ball, he'd get punished for playing so far back. Yeah, no, of course. Like, if there's like a flanker or even like the dive.
Monkey and ball count as flankers.
The dive will be looking to like isolate people. So exactly, like if there is like if you're leaving yourself isolated, anybody who
couple
can
minutes left
you
here
with like any high mobility character, really any high mobility character that like wants to like isolate people in some way, they're gonna fuck you up. So that's where it's like backing up further isn't exactly safer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's also just like the further back you are, the harder it is to like land shots. Really.
Sort of. I mean, if you feel under less pressure, for some people it'll get easier,
like,
and
so you might as well actually get.
But yes, you will generally do more damage as you get a little bit closer.
No reason not to.
You run into things as you get closer. It also creates a thing where it's very easy. Everyone is pretty tight on your screen right now, and as you get closer, everyone is going to be a much bigger portion of your screen, and in some ways that makes it, or even off your screen in that way and off your screen in that way, which does have a trading effect of making it harder as well to get on the correct target.
As long as your teammates.
So I don't think it's quite that simple.
And here we go, 1v1 with the Tracer again. Very cool.
It's okay.
Sucks
Tracer can't force you here.
Because you don't want to be taking 1v1s with Tracers.
This isn't a problem.
You should probably be moving forward quicker.
So we're moving forward. You're looking for that. I don't push this way. This is a micropathing mistake.
You could go like right here, so then at least you afford yourself the chance of being
you could.
able to like closer to your teammate.
I mean, you're also an angle threat. Like, keep in mind, Starsfilth, this is something that you suggested earlier in the other direction, that they go through hotel and poke, except it was the other direction, and that's still something they could do, but any time that they're going to do something like that, there's the possibility that they're going to run into a tracer who is taking the same path, and that's kind of a risk you accept when you do those sorts of things, and this is sort of the same thing. It's a less good one, but it's I'm taking a slightly different route than my team to control slightly different angles than my team. I don't like this one because you end up controlling the same angle mostly as your team, which isn't amazing, but like that is a thing that you get, and it's not strictly wrong to take slight off angles to do a, hey, I'm going to push through hotel and shoot sort of thing, and this is kind of that, just a worse version, and we ran into someone.
Instead, you hang around back.
Yeah, this is poor micropathing. I wouldn't still push this tracer. I'd have thrown those 5 orbs discorded and said I'm not pushing this way anymore, because I'm not willing to push into the tracer, at least without a brig, but I was willing to push when it was blank, or I thought it was blank, and if I run into a tracer, kind of, oh well, when I was trying to get a place I could get a limbs from, or pickoffs from.
Here again. Again, you can also go like this and clear the high ground like this, right? But you're always leaving this gap behind you. The thing is, my ego says I want to take 1v1 as a
I have a flex support like that, where sometimes they're just like, I've got it. Like, we'll be warning them with our scouting that Tracer's coming to get them. Like, they're still on high ground, but our brig has dropped and committed, and we'll be calling, Tracer's coming, and they'll be like, it's fine. And then they'll just proceed to two-shot them, and it'll just be like, okay. And, it'll be midway into a match, midway into a scrim, where they actually have a feel for the Tracer, and they know they can do it, and we've partially exhausted the Tracer, that sort of thing. But it is just funny to listen to when it's just like, okay, that Tracer is not some, like, your 400 SR better than them Tracer. It's just like, most of the time that's not the right answer. I'll just put it that way. But Zens will have a feel for when they have the other Tracers, when they have the Tracer's number.
Tracers. I mean, yeah.
And don't start that way. Definitely, if you're going to do the ego duel, go into the ego duel once you sort of actually get a mental advantage out of it. Once you've dunked on them once or twice, then you might go into the ego duel if you think you can continue to dunk onto them, because it will keep them mentally broken and ineffective. But that gets into mind game shenanigans. It's almost as bad as Widow mind game duels, where, okay, you have to sort of keep challenging the Widow once you start losing, because otherwise, anyway.
Ego should also say that you want to win every duel with the Tracer, so you should look for an unfair advantage. Right? You have to kind of
use
be,
dunk as a term? Absolutely.
Like that, 14-year-old on fucking Call of Duty who just sits
so much. Jeez.
There and camps in the crates on fucking, what is that map? Shit.
Really?
Shipment, like that tiny ass little map, and just sits there and he gets he drops a 40 bomb. Just fucking sitting there and you can't be fair. You literally have to sit there and spawn camp them, right? You can't be fair. In this case, obviously you're not spawn camping, but it's like you can't be fair. There's no room for being fair. Just don't make it fair. There's no reason to.
Yeah, you should never be fair. You should absolutely never be fair. Don't take fair 1v1s with people. Absolutely take every advantage you can. I'm with you on that part.
I get the flame to team for no peel, or I get an ego boost. Okay, so...
That's no, because you lose the match and you lose SR and you let the Tracer get out of his own head or get out of her own head and start going, oh, I can take this Zen and play more confidently. No, we don't want that.
Again, as we mentioned earlier, there's no such thing as peel. That's not a
temporal Starsfilth's language reviewed
thing. That's not a thing.
So peel is a thing, but it's not a thing that you should expect a lot of from your tanks in most situations.
Your tank.
Pressure is peel would be my preferred take on that.
Tanks aren't going to turn around and peel for you, when in reality, your Zarya is much better suited to...
Infinitely. And she's the extreme example, sort of. Roadhog is another, kind of. No, D.Va's the least... That's the least true for D.Va, though it's still true for her, but, Zarya, Roadhog, it's extremely true. You don't want Hog sitting in your backline. You want Hog going up and making flank-type plays most of the time. You don't want Zarya staring at your backline. You need her applying pressure forward and bubbling your Reinhardt. Her bubble doesn't split very well.
Peeling for, your main tank, right? Providing bubbles for them.
She will be a low-energy Zarya if she's trying to peel for you constantly. And she won't get to just melt things if she's having to fight Tracers and Genjis in her own backline. She can pressure them on their way in and put a lot of pressure on a Genji, not let him farm very efficiently, but she just isn't going to do any damage. She's not going to build grabs. She's not going to have energy. She's not going to melt the opposing team and force cooldowns very well. It's just not going to work very well. Level 0 speech.
It's extremely rare that they're going to actually be able to provide bubbles for you, and that's only if the enemy team actually takes the initiative.
What do you need Star, what is the obsession with banana peels and getting them? Why do you need others to peel bananas for you? But your other support is pretty good at it. They have a peeler.
First.
Basically, your Zarya will use bubbles to build energy or peel for the main tank because it's more efficient during an engagement, significantly. Because of this, it's not likely that you will get a bubble to peel for you during the fight, since she already used it. You would have to wait for it to get off cooldown again. Right. For 100 energy Zarya right-clicks the Tracer, that Tracer just got peeled. Pressure is peel. In the event that the enemy takes the initiative and dives on you first before your team exchanges, then yes, you can expect a bubble. Potentially, yeah.
Okay, now start moving forward. Walk forward. Walk forward. Walk forward. Walk forward. Walk forward. Walk forward. There we go.
Okay.
No. Yes.
You do need to rotate, like yesterday.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. The Tracer's gone. Look at that. I mean, probably engaged at the wrong time, that Tracer.
She did.
That's besides the point.
Just throw a Discord on it. Why are you charging a right click?
I mean, probably engaged at the wrong time, that Tracer.
We're throwing a 3 orb, which I'm really not in love with.
But that's besides the point.
We're rotating back here. We know there's a Tracer right there. The Tracer is on our screen, and we're charging a right click rather than instantly discording it? Discord it for wall hacks? Discord it to make it uncomfortable? What are you doing? What is this one orb right click shenanigans?
It's just...
This is Masters. Come on, Zenyatta, the key. Like, get your... Don't charge right clicks when you're discordant. Don't charge right clicks when your orb should be out. Don't charge right clicks when your orbs should be out and aren't. Get your orbs out first. Now, your orbs shouldn't be out if you're like defending a choke and waiting for the enemies to respawn and eventually they'll walk into it. Yeah, you can be charging up right clicks and throwing those out. But don't give me this, oh, I'm going to throw a little 3 orb around this hotel when my orbs aren't out, and now I'm going to charge a 1 orb for this Tracer without... No, stop it. Bad Zen.
Mates are your friends. There we go. Look at that. You're closer to your team, and they help fuck them up. I mean, like, it's gonna be harder, and you see how like your Tracer has to commit more like aggressive.
D.Va can mark a Tracer for Aegis, though. It's not a super clean trade for a D.Va to mark a Tracer. Like, D.Va can not let a Tracer in some, but honestly, D.Va doesn't really want to play long-term with a Tracer because, yes, D.Va can mark a Tracer pretty long, but D.Va is going to spend so much resource fighting that Tracer, and it's just like, oh, free pulse bombs? Free pulse bombs? I do like free pulse bombs. And yes, it's expensive to Tracer to take health damage and to have to use the blinks, but it is so much health that D.Va is going to spend to get those resources out of Tracer. Yeah. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not some amazing mark.
Aggressively, I mean, she went for the melee at the wrong time. But it's like
you don't have to do less swearing, Starsfilth. I mean, I'm not going to be reviewing your content every day here or anything. You don't need to be like, but I'm conscious of YouTube, and YouTube is not going to like the number of F-bombs in this one.
See how they can instantly turn around and try to help you? Let's say you die. Tracer probably dies too. Right? It's just more likely. Right? So this is better, right? Yes, you nearly got one clipped, which is unfortunate, but this is better. Right now, you're free to do whatever you want. But whatever. The point is that it's like, because you're in positions where people can support you, Tracer will inherently have to use more blinks to deal with like them as well.
Other people look at her, she blinks.
Right.
Discord? Discord? Discord was
easier for you to deal with them too, right? So, yeah.
Okay, that's gonna do it. We'll call that one there. I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll call that one there. It's perfectly fine. If you guys are, well, we'll just sort of do a wrap up there again. I think this was useful. I think we could put more weight on the concept of pressure is peel. I do think we need a little bit of an asterisk for, hey, I didn't really like that, oh, don't go this way situation with the statue, because, like, yeah, okay, but that's very similar to the hotel in terms of what you're doing. You made the decision to make this review primarily about sort of their micropathing, where they need to be, how they need to kite towards their team, how they need to not get too separated from their team depending on the matchup, and there's some truth there. That said, they were playing against primarily a brawl team with a tracer, and you don't want to get yourself in a situation where the other Reinhardt just takes a step or two past your Reinhardt and their swing is hitting your Zen. So you have to be a little bit careful in those brawl v brawl situations about being too much in your own front line. That becomes a bit less of an issue when you are playing against non-brawl comps. But yeah, overall that was interesting. Again, I sort of gave my comments after the initial post here, which was, hey, I would like more talking about Pressure's peel. I would like a little bit more of an explanation of, hey, your other support is going to be your primary peel for you. Obviously, Zen Anna isn't the most peely support combination, but they certainly can still peel for each other. But yeah, this was interesting, and I personally would like language a little more controlled because it makes YouTube happier. But hey, okay, we'll do a catch up on chat here. If you guys have comments, go ahead and throw them up there. I'm not going to read everything because I don't think it fits. I don't think it's necessary. But yeah, throw it up there if you have it. Temporal never replies to my DMs anymore. I'm not relevant. Only thing relevant is peeling bananas. Maybe. Do I have a bunch of DMs from you I've missed? I don't think so. I know I owe Val a response to some DMs. I don't think I have anything from you, Adam, but maybe I'm just forgetting. YouTube prefers high quality girl, like how to. I see. I see. You mean YS simulator? Okay. I've done a video on that, so I didn't want to put it here, but in hindsight, pressure peel is intrinsic to the idea of not asking tanks to peel. Yeah, yeah. Should have included that. Just add funny sound effects for the language on YouTube. I would, except that this was a stream, guys, so I'd have to pull it down, turn it into a video, edit it, and then upload it as a video. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Say what you want about your Overwatch, but at least the Orisa guide was safe for children to watch. We gave a lot of warnings that there would be language here. We did. It's weird how in the lore Tracer looks up to Zen and respects him, but in the game she picks on him mercilessly. True, true. Okay. Mm-hmm. Talking about the internal scrims, fun stuff. People should join the Discord to check those out if they're interested in doing some for fun scrimming there. Mm-hmm. How to run ads on other people's channels for free. Start discussing on Overwatch Reddit and promise you'll provide more info in the video. Could be. Could be. What to do when you don't get peeled for as a support? Make a post on the Blizzard forums and bask in upvotes for other support names as you vent about stinky DPS. And if you do it hard enough, you'll get certain people added to the game like Moira and Brig. And then the game will become all about punishing tanks as the way to unwind the fight, take apart the fight. And then you'll be able to go, aha, there's less pressure on me other than to keep the tank alive, and I get to play Healbot Simulator, and that's what I wanted to play, because this is an MMORPG, not an FPS hybrid, right? Right? Oh, wait, we've moved away from that, but hey, we're going back in time. Okay. That's final check here. Thanks for the feedback, Temporal. No problem, no problem. Thanks for being good sport, Starsfilth. At Temporal, can I buy someone else a review who already has a 4-pack? Sure. I mean, I don't mind people gifting reviews and such. Okay. Can I pay for coaching with a super chat again? Generally, I don't like that. Please DM me. And the reason I don't like that is, of course, YouTube takes a cut, and it's a meaningful cut, and it makes it not really make sense. There's a couple people I've made exceptions for where it really just becomes an issue in the country they're in to do any other payment method, but that is not a standard that I accept. So reach out to me through DM, but I believe the answer for you is going to be yes, because we've established that there really isn't another way for you to do that, Celeste. Okay. Cool. In terms of whether you could do one right now, let me actually check my schedule. I could do a session like right now, but I've only got time in this next hour here, so I couldn't do one later. I could do one later this evening at like 7, maybe at 6, but this hour I could do one in if someone wants a review right now. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. Will I stream more today? I'll probably stream a little bit more this evening. I'll probably also stream a Northeastern match in Nace later today as well. Can you tell us if Wes is still alive? I don't know. I hope he is, but I don't know. Okay, we'll go ahead and call it there. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Temporal out.